Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Thank you for being here today. If you want to follow along, you can find our place in Genesis 32, beginning in verse 24, beginning and ending. They should have broke this down differently, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at verse 24 today. We'll look at 25 tomorrow. Verse 24 says, Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of the day. The night before what looks like a really big meeting, even confrontation with his brother, who the last we heard from him wanted Jacob dead, and now Jacob can't sleep, evidently, and he ends up wrestling with a man, it says here. It's all it tells us right now, is that he is wrestling with a man until daybreak. So before his big meeting, he doesn't get a good night's sleep. He has a wrestling match here. A couple of lessons, again. There's kind of a reason we did break it down this way. I want you to notice, first of all, the very first line, Jacob was alone. Many times before God can really get our attention, before God can do something great in our life, before God can change us, He has to get us alone. He has to get us away from the busyness, the cares of this world, all the things that would distract us, and has to get us off by ourselves. And I would just, on that statement alone, I would challenge you to stop and think for a moment. When is the last time you really just spent some quality alone time with God? I'm certain most probably try to pray some on some schedule. I'm not even going to say daily, but in some methodical method, some regular method, but many times, and I will speak for myself, even when we do take time to pray, it's almost like we're looking at our watch. I need to hurry up this prayer. I've got to go get the clothes out of the dryer. I got to go cook supper. I got to get to work. It's always, it seems like it's almost always kind of rushed, and it's driving down the road. We might try to talk to God, but we've got our minds as much, probably if not more, on traffic and looking around and the lights and the signs and the other cars than it really is on God. When is the last time you can say you really got alone with God and spent time quietly, just meditating and talking to God? And the answer to that question may explain why you feel like you do, why maybe you don't feel as close to God as you could. Second thing I want to point out about this story is he wrestles with this man all night long. Now, Jacob's had a lot of battles. Jacob's had a lot of fights. His brother, to some extent, his father, Laban. Jacob's had his share of scraps. He's thrown hands with more than one person. But our greatest battles are spiritual. Again, what are our greatest battles? What are we spending our most time on? What are we most focused on fighting? Trying to get the work week in, trying to get the bills paid. What if we spend as much time wrestling and struggling, spiritually speaking, to grow in our walk with the Lord, to learn more about His Word, to grow as a believer? Our greatest issue is not if we're going to change jobs. It's not balancing the checkbook. It's not that contrary neighbor or contrary coworker. It's not even maybe a problem in your family. Our greatest fights, our greatest battles are spiritual battles. Maybe they are, maybe it's pride. Maybe there's a prideful thing in us, or fear. Maybe there's some unforgiveness in us. That's what we really need to be struggling to to deal with and to make a difference in. And we're going to learn in this story that ultimately God's aim in this story is not to beat Jacob down. It's not to win the fight, but it is to get Jacob to change. He's not trying to kill Jacob. If he was, he could have spoke from the heavens and taken care of Jacob. But it's not. He wants Jacob to be different. And the only way Jacob's going to be different is for Jacob finally to surrender, to quit trying to do things his own, quit trying to trick, lie, steal, cheat, whatever it takes, but to finally put his confidence in God. I want to leave you with a challenge here as you go through this week, as with Jacob, to find a place intentionally. Block it off in your calendar. Not when you got to be somewhere else, not when you're doing something else, but to be with God. Turn off the television, go out in the backyard by yourself, whatever you got to do. Wherever you got to go somewhere, find some place where you can be alone with God, open His Word, begin to read it, pray as you read His Word, pray as God speaks to your heart, and you find out that, see what it is God's trying to change in you. It may not be that He wants you to change jobs. It may not be that He wants you to move. It may be something very personal, very, very spiritual in your life that God is trying to get you to be aware of. You think about it. Have a great day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.